This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have another good neighbor on, Santo Bagnato with Highview Contracting and Consulting Incorporated. Santo, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to diving into it, learning more about you and your business. So let's get right into it, man. What do you do?
So we do a wide range of construction, mostly exterior work, and we're kind of getting ourselves into a little bit of the interior with basements, kitchens, bathrooms, additions, stuff like that. But our bread and butter is the exterior, which is the excavation, the demos, waterproofing, stuff like that. That's the hardscaping, landscaping. That's the bread and butter.
So for the audience that's listening that maybe never heard of you before, when you say, and even for myself, when you say exterior, you'll dig up my whole lawn and that'll lead to putting flagstone in there, like all that kind of stuff?
Anything you need outside, we can do it. We can excavate your whole back, do interlock, concrete, flagstone, retaining walls, armor stone. If you can think of something that you want and we can get it designed for you, we can do it.
So what about the pool? Do you guys set it up and then a pool company comes in, or what happens?
So the pool, we can dig it. We do have other guys that we work with that they'll do the install, the plumbing, and then obviously you need electrical and gas fitters and stuff for the pools, but we don't do that part of it. But we could dig the pool and have it ready for them to do the install.
So you guys will prep everything and you have a network of pool people. So if I said to you, listen, Santo, I got this $150,000 backyard, there's nothing there but grass. Want to put some trees in, want the armor stone, the flagstone, interlocking. I want the fire pit, the pool, the whole nine. Take care of it for me. You'll get it done, whether you do all of it or set them up with the pool guy, but you'll take care of it from A to Z, essentially.
Exactly.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Basically,
I love it.
From design to completion.
Yeah. And just to know that I don't have to go to 6 people for my backyard, 6 different companies, builds up confidence with me, and it's an easier process. And the areas that we go to, some of those backyards are massive, like some of them are on estate properties, acres and acres. So I'm sure they would feel the same way. One person, one job done. And you guys will also manage, oversee the whole thing, I'm assuming?
100%.
Beautiful. I love it, man. How long you guys been in business for?
So Highview Contracting has been in business since 2001.
Oh, nice. Over 20 years.
2021. We were originally out of Toronto. And I was operating from 07, 08, roughly till 2019. And then kind of had a couple years of not doing much, and then got back into it in 2021.
2021, right in the middle
over 15 years, roughly.
Beautiful. How was it getting back into it during COVID? That was an interesting time.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Right? I mean, for landscapers,
yeah,
for the construction business, I know some of our clients, real estate was good. Some of our renovation companies and landscapers.
We didn't stop. We didn't stop working. To me, COVID was just whatever the news said it was, but we didn't feel it like some other people did.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm happy you guys stayed strong during that time. So this show, what do we do this for? Like, why do people come on this show? Certainly to get a business more exposure. That's one of the added benefits, the side benefits, but really it's to enrich the lives of the local community. You get an expert on, you share expert information, interesting conversations with local community members, local entrepreneurs, so people can learn something, get to know more people. So we like to ask some fundamental questions. You told us a little bit about your business, but human beings are fascinating. I'm very interested in our species, our potential, why we do things. Storytelling is such an important part of connecting with humans. That's a big part of what we do. essentially take the story of a business and provide it to the primary demographic so we can help them with those products and services. So we like to ask why to things. People don't typically just do things with no reason behind it. So we love to know the story behind it. So what brought you to this, Santo? Like, what brought you to opening this business, to the landscaping and demolition and excavation world? Did you just fall into it, or was this something that you grew up into? What's the story?
No, I kind of fell into it.
Okay.
It all started because I wanted to do snow plowing.
Okay.
And to do snow, you had to do landscape so it was like everything started to kind of hook up together. And it was like, well, I wouldn't get the snow contract if I wasn't doing the landscaping. And then if I'm doing the maintenance, people want their interlock fixed, and everything just kept, escalating from there, and more projects. And then I got out of the snow in 2019 and stuck more to the construction aspect of it. That's basically how we how it all started. Just started to do something that I'm not even doing now, but it brought me to this.
And so, it makes it worth it. It's interesting. Sometimes we just want to get one skill or do one thing, like your experience, but you need all these other things, or there's so many things intrinsically connected to it. You wanted to do the snow, but you need to do the landscaping. To do the landscaping, you need to do this and do this and do this. Do you prefer doing what you're doing now, or do you miss the snow?
I always miss the snow.
Yeah.
But I prefer doing what I'm doing now when it comes to, I have more time to do things. I still, do it on occasion if guys need help, and guys know me. So they'll call me and be like, oh, can you come, drive a tractor or do this or do that? And I still get the rush. So I enjoy the rush. Probably not I wouldn't want to do it as much as I was doing it before.
Right.
Because I had a lot more responsibilities, and, we're out for like 2 days straight, making sure everything's perfect. So I don't know if I could do that anymore, or I don't know. Maybe I could, but I don't feel like doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And your business, the construction, the excavation, the hardscaping, the demo, is that seasonal in any way, or can you work all year round?
The demo, I work all year round. We do interior commercial demo. When it gets more like spring, summer, there could be some houses we're taking down. So it changes a little bit. But we've been pretty steady. I wouldn't say we're crazy busy, but we're pretty steady where we get stuff in the winter to do.
Beautiful. So at least you're not limited by a season.
Yeah.
I know some people want that depending on their lifestyle choice, but I think for most of us entrepreneurs, we need to work all year round. So it's nice to not be limited by the season. Something that I'm curious about is you've said demolition a few times. I don't know much about that. We work a lot with landscapers and hardscapers and a lot of pool guys. Anything home services, like our clients are from the front of the driveway to the end of the backyard. So they affect anything to do with the building, the landscape, and then all the people on the inside. So it could be psychotherapy, could be a private school, real estate agent, electrician, a tile guy, landscaper, et cetera, et cetera. But demolition doesn't come up all that much. So before I get into that, one of the benefits of this show, as I was alluding to before, is providing accurate information with somebody, for accurate information to somebody, providing it. Because if we have inaccurate information, that's going to lead us to making inaccurate decisions. So if someone could change that information, give us more accurate information, I can make better decisions. So we like to ask about myths and misconceptions, because there's audience members right now that have their thoughts about hardscaping or landscaping or demolition, excavation that are incorrect because they've learned it from somebody else who learned it from somebody else, and they're just passing this incorrect information. So we like to ask the experts about any myths or misconceptions that may be out there that could be clarified. So is there anything that comes to mind about the services you provide that are like, I deal with this obstacle all the time, myth or misconception regarding your business? Anything come to mind?
I mean, not really. I mean, demo's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
But it is one of those jobs where you have to have common sense. You have to somewhat have a basic understanding of how to use certain tools, because the damages are very expensive. You demo something you're not supposed to,
Right.
it gets very expensive because you get back charged, then that's it. You have no control over that. So it's not the way some people think, where it's just like, oh, just grab some kids and they'll go do this, that, and the other. There's a lot of things that you only see when you're doing the demo. That's like behind the walls and stuff like that. That if you break something, it's an expensive fix.
Yeah. So, not to mention, I imagine safety. I would not want to demo anything in my house. I'll put it that way. There's things behind the walls that are beyond my scope of knowledge. And there may be a gas pipe in there. There may be electrical, something in there, my own safety, my family's safety. But one of the questions that comes up a fair bit is some of these things. What do I want to say? So doing your flooring, that is not a extravagant skill. It's not like heart surgery. So I would never attempt heart surgery. Like, I wouldn't even think about it. But the flooring is something, it's like, okay, I may be able to accomplish this on my own. So something that we ask a fair bit is, why hire the expert when they can do this on their own? What would be the benefits of hiring an expert? Because if I do that flooring, I could be thinking that this could cost me less. I have different opinions about that. We talk to experts all the time. I would not do that. I think it would actually cost me less to go to an expert because I get it done right once and quickly. But why not, if somebody wants to demo their own walls, why hire an expert? Or if somebody wants to do their own landscaping, what are the benefits of hiring the expert, essentially, Santo?
Well, one of the main things that I notice with especially demolition is that you got to look at the year of the building you're working on. And there's buildings that are from the 80s and 70s and stuff like that. And those walls are all asbestos. There could be piping that asbestos in commercial. There's so many different things that some people don't know. There's floor tiles that have asbestos. People don't know that. And then
I didn't know that.
if you go look at, if I say, like, I walk in and I'm like, oh, are those 9x9, glued on floor tiles? And people are like, yeah, take it off. And it's like, no, those are asbestos. 90% of the time they are. So you don't know that. You rip it out and you're putting your health at risk, basically.
Right.
And
Yeah, so
the repercussions of that, it might take 20 or 30 years, but you're going to get it. You're going to feel something eventually.
Yeah. So there's just too much that the rookie or the new person can't see because they don't have the experience that an expert can. Yeah. Even with something that seems like, how much harm could I cause by doing my own floor? It's like, well, there can be a fair bit, actually. And not to mention the stress level of doing it on your own and messing it up and the time that it takes. So I've learned from my life that if we're just talking money, if I get an expert to do it, now I have all that time to myself to go continue to build my business. And that is the best way for me to build wealth, not to save a little bit of money and do the flooring myself. But then for me also, calmness of mind. Stress is a killer. Fitness is my background prior to helping scale businesses and marketing and all that. So it's the other main skill set for me. And stress is a killer, man. I mean, it really decreases the quality of your life. So for me to tackle these jobs on my own, I don't know, man. It's a no-brainer for me. My stress goes way up. I don't even think it would save me any money in the long run. And it would be done right and probably look way better from an expert. So I'm glad you clarified those things for us, because there's DIYers all the time just from trying to listen. If they want to do it because they want to have fun and, it's creative expression or something like that, great. But if it's just to save money, that argument doesn't hold any water for me personally. So I'm glad you clarified that for us. Let's pivot a little bit outside of business because we want to know who Santo is. We like to ask about the person That's what we're trying to do here. Not only provide your products and services, but really offer an opportunity for people to resonate with one another, enjoy some interesting conversations. So I ask our entrepreneurs, what do they like to do for fun? Many of them answer, well, my business is really fun. So that's what I do. But I think there's a lot to life outside of business. So what does Santo get up to when not demoing buildings or doing hardscape?
Not as much now as I used to, but I still enjoy anything that's automobile related. Um, you know, when I was a lot younger, we used to go, Toronto Motorsports Park a lot. In
Okay.
Cayuga, we used to do a lot of that. Haven't done it in a while. So, I mean, I guess work is my fun technically, but I don't have a car to do stuff with, so I don't participate in some of that stuff or car meets or, that's something I still like. What I do now more is sometimes I just want to relax and have a cigar.
Yeah. I love
And
it,
that's
man.
it.
Are you a traveler? Do anything like that? You got a family?
Yeah, I travel. I don't know. To some people, they say I travel a lot. Some people say I don't travel enough. But
Well,
we
what do
try.
you think? Who cares what they think? What do you think?
Well,
You
we try
travel
and get
enough?
one or two trips in if we
Yeah.
can.
Yep.
And around, I guess, the province, we traveled quite a bit. I do enjoy obviously car stuff, so I go to Formula One. We go to Montreal. So I still do that kind of stuff. I try my best to, if I have no choice, I will work weekends. I do try to not, if I can avoid it. Doesn't mean I do all the time, but if I can squeeze one or two here and there, then I'm happy.
And you said we travel. Does that mean wife, kids, girlfriend in the
Wife,
picture?
yeah, no, I've been with my wife now for probably about 6 years this year.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I got a few kids. I got 3 kids.
I just got a few kids. No big deal.
No big
And
deal.
how old are they, man?
12, 8, and 7-month-old.
Yeah. So I get it. Work and family, that pretty much fills up the whole day, right?
Yeah.
Cool, man. And just I still love cars, but I used to really obsess over them. So I knew more then than I do now. But when you're talking about cars, like what type? Are we talking Formula One? Are you talking drag racing? Like, what are you interested when it comes to cars?
I've always been, I've had a little bit of a mixture. I've kind of been like a muscle car guy.
Oh yeah.
Had a Camaro in my 20s. So I always liked the V8s, the sound, everything about them, the old cars, like a Monte Carlo, or a Chevy Chevelle, Chevy Novas, Camaros, always into that. GM guy.
Okay.
You didn't hear me say any Fords. And I always liked the European cars. So I had an 83 Rabbit for a very long time that was fully done up. Volkswagen Rabbit.
Yep.
Had a couple of different Volkswagens. Mostly I stuck to Volkswagens or Audis, but I had a couple of those over the years.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
The had Volkswagen and Audi. Love the Audi. Right now I'm driving a Kia, which I got to tell you, those cars have come a long way. I really enjoy it. And I went from an Audi to a Kia. Got a new this year. Really love it. But what's the dream car, man? If money wasn't a thing, what would Santo be buying? Are we going
60,
old muscle?
Oh, I already know. 67 Camaro or a 69 Dodge Charger.
Yeah, the Charger. Woo, what a car.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. I love it.
2 picks.
Yeah, that would be great, man. So we also like to talk about the harder areas of life. We love the playfulness and we love the fun, but you saw the question there. And why do we talk about our challenges, trials, and tribulations? Simply because entrepreneurship is really hard. And it's because that it's hard, it makes us better. If entrepreneurship was really easy, first off, everybody would do it. And I don't think we'd learn a whole lot. Like if we really reflect back on our life, on our lives, I think it's through our most complicated experiences that we've grown the most. So we have found that if you go on social media, you find the perfect version of life. It's not realistic. Perfect wife, perfect husband, perfect car, perfect dream boat, vacation. That's not what life is all the time. It can be a part of life, but it's not what it always is. So people go on social media and they're like, this doesn't resonate with me. I can't live up to these standards. They walk away feeling bad about themselves sometimes. And then you go to the news, it's all negative. It's salacious. So we get the two opposite ends of the spectrum. It's two extremes, whereas life is more in the middle. It's more of that gray area, but people tend to not celebrate or discuss or share their hardships in life or their failures in life, these challenges, because maybe there's some shame there or some embarrassment there or judgment. So we talk about it a fair bit because knowing when you become an entrepreneur that it will be hard sets you up for proper expectations, number one. And number two, I think human beings really become more valuable to society and to themselves when they get challenged. So through the hardest moments in my life, I know that I became that much more valuable and that much more skillful by overcoming those obstacles. So we like to ask the guests on the show, any challenges, trials and tribulations that you've been through, business or personal, doesn't either or, that you're comfortable with sharing, that when you went through it, you probably felt like this sucked, like it was a death or something like that, or a bankruptcy, something. Some people have shared before with this sucked in the moment, but now years later, and I look back on it in hindsight, I wouldn't remove that experience from my life because I became a more valuable version of myself. I enjoy my life more now because I was tested so much. Anything come to mind that you're comfortable with sharing?
I mean, look, being in business, I think is it's not for everybody. You need, I think a lot of patience is probably, for me, I think is one of the main things. Especially if you deal with like commercials and stuff, because you got to deal with so many different variables. You don't get paid on time. There's so many things you have to try and balance. So it makes it hard. I think then it also makes it hard in your personal life because of that, because you need money to do stuff, then you don't have money because you're waiting, and then it's always like a game all the time. You have to like what you're doing. You have to kind of, for me, it's like I feel like you have to have that rush. If I didn't have it, if I didn't feel anything when it comes to that, I don't think I could do it. As patient as I could be, you need that rush. You need that high where it's like, okay, I'm going to finish now. So like, am I going to get paid right away? Am I, what am I doing next? What's the next project? You got to have that rush. And things could be tough every day when you're doing stuff. Different things can happen.
So that's what keeps you going, is kind of that rush or that high from completing that job, getting that next piece of work, helping that next homeowner, commercial owner, something like that. That's what keeps you going.
That's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
I get a rush on it. I put 200% when I'm there, and I get that rush where it's like, what can I change? Can I do this? Can I do that? Even with the rentals, sometimes it's like, well, they didn't really ask for that, but for an extra $15, I'm just going to add it, or whatever it is. Right. And then it's like, you get people's reaction and be like, oh, I totally didn't even think of that. And you just did it. So I do it for the rush, obviously the money, but the rush is also important. If not, it's very hard to be an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, for sure. And are you, I mean, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, but I really look at it, for me, life is the game that I'm playing. Like, that's the ultimate arena that I'm in. Business is just a subcategory of life. It's not the point of my life. I was not put on this planet to run a business. I would say I was probably put on this planet, depending on what meaning of life you choose, but to make this world better than I found it. I say that's a pretty good meaning for life that I choose anyways. And I can use my business to do that, to become a better human, to become more skillful, to help more people. So that's the way I look at entrepreneurship, as the avenue through which I learn about myself and help other people, to help the world. Something I'm curious about, though, that rush you come from, are you constantly, like, I think I've had a couple of conversations similar to you, similar people. Are you constantly trying to push the envelope when you're doing a reno, like I can tweak this, I can make this better, I can do that better. Each time it's almost like creative expression a little bit. Rather than doing the same job every single time, you constantly trying to learn and tweak.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I
I
if I
figured
had to do the same thing all the time like a robot, I don't think I'd have that rush. And maybe there's people that can do that and they operate like that, and it's like robot system. And they can make probably more money doing it. I don't know, but I don't know. I can't do that.
So that learning of new things, and even though you're doing another bathroom or another hardscape, it's the learning of new things. It's the tweaking it here and there that kind of keeps you going, keeps the brain stimulated type of thing.
There's always something new going on, right? So there's always a lot of people smarter than I am that are coming up with new things all the time, and it's my job, if I'm going to be doing stuff, to kind of see what they're doing and be like, oh, that's like a really good idea, or why don't I try this, why don't I try that, this guy did this, this guy did that. And you kind of learn with other guys you work with sometimes, and sometimes you learn by just looking at stuff online, or whichever way.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's for me, learning is a passion, hence the books behind me. There's always something. Knowledge can really make a difference to my own life, other people's lives, but we continue to get better. I mean, that's kind of like the evolution of human beings. We should be more intelligent, more effective, more creative than our previous generation. My last job, or this current job, should be better than the last job, and I should keep progressing. So I like that you agree with that, especially with your type of work. I imagine there's just 1,000 ways to tackle the things that you do.
Yeah, 100%.
And constantly keeps you learning. So specifically about Highview contracting and consulting, what is one thing you wish our audience knew about your business, Santo?
I mean, I work everywhere. I wish it was more known that I am out of Barrie, that I'm local out of Barrie, so I can avoid having to go to, Milton or, Toronto and all these places where I've had contacts from before, which I don't mind doing those jobs, but it would be nice to be closer to home to do some work. But, I guess I got to go where the work is, but if I can get work here, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I would want people to know.
So they know you're here now. So if we put ourselves in the perspective client's mindset, the stranger that hasn't heard of you before, even the person that has had, now that they know you're here, what is, add one more thing to that if we can. So you're speaking to the potential client right now. They know you're here. What is one additional thing that you wish they knew about your business, like level of customer service, full range service, project management? What's that one thing that you think sets you apart that you would want them to know about you, give them confidence to work with you? Anything come to mind?
The thing that I've learned over the years is that when you say you're going to be there, you have to show up.
Yes.
One way or the other, you got to make it happen. And that's what I'm trying to strive on. And if you need me there, I'm going to be there. If I got to move stuff around, it is what it is. Other jobs, but if I make a promise, I got to be there. I got to be there.
It's huge. So you're a man of your word. That's what you want them to know. If you say something, you're going to do it, which honestly, it seems like such a basic thing, yet so many of us struggle with doing what we say. False promises happen way more often than...
It's a hard thing to do in this industry, I think, because there could be delays from other stuff, right? So, I mean, there's always stuff that can happen, but I think communication with the future client, letting them know, I'm delayed here, I gotta do this or do that, and then you give them a date. I think that's important, the communication, and to just try and stick with everything that you're putting out there.
I love it. So you keep in touch with them. If something changes, you let them know. You don't keep them hanging, but sticking, man of your word. So I love it, man. I love it. So I like going as deep as our guests allow me to go. I like to be philosophical. I I like to ask deep questions that I think there's many layers to a human being and many layers to our life. It's not just business. It's not just the next job, the next product or service to offer. We're all humans fumbling around on this spinning rock. I think it's more than just business. So I like to ask this question before we wrap up.
Yep.
I talk about mentors quite a bit. I talk about purpose, the meaning of things, talk about impact. So that last one, impact, is what I'm going to ask you about, and I'll give some context. I have been very lucky to have some great mentors in my life, and through those mentors, through that mentorship has changed the trajectory of my life completely to a life that I really enjoy. We built a great business. We have a great team of people. I feel very privileged to be where I am. And a lot of that was from learning from people who have been where I want to go. So one of those things that helped me so much, I think about this a fair bit, is my impact on this world, on my community, on my family, on my friends, my business. My mentor that I met early 20s, she encouraged me to think about, what is your impact as a human being? The more intentional you can be about your life, the better your life will probably be. So she taught me to think about my impact. I was probably 23. What have you done in your life so far? Do you regret it? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel bad about it? Decide that and then move forward. What would you like your impact to be on a daily basis? She taught me that time isn't guaranteed. I may not be here tomorrow, so don't wait. Be intentional about your day. And then for as long as I am here, what would you like your impact to be going forward? So essentially, I am born, then I die, Santo. I will have an impact on this planet in some way. What do I want it to be? So we like to ask the guests, as again, very curious in human beings and what we're all doing here, not just business. I like to ask the guests, what do you want your impact to be, Santo? You can take that as legacy, so after you're gone, or you can take that as right now. Is it a father? Is it a friend? Is it a great business person? What do you think you want your impact to be, Santo?
Well, it's a tough one. Not something I've thought about. I don't regret anything in life. There was good stuff and bad stuff, and
sure,
I'm okay with it. I think for me, it's more of a legacy. That's ideally what I'd like to try and leave, is some type of legacy, either within the family or as a business or something. Just leave something where I know that when I'm not here, then they can talk about that and remember that stuff at least, right? Yeah.
So leave something behind that can be talked about for a while.
Yeah.
In a positive light that could benefit people, I'm assuming. Yeah. Something for the families, something for your staff of business, of people that are working with your team. That's what you think of when you think of impact. Leave something that can help the people that are still here.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it, man. What's the best way for our audience to contact you, man? If they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Yeah. So they can call 705-985-7669. They could follow me on Instagram. It's HVC_construction. And those are my main two things. You can email me, highviewcontractinggroup@gmail.com. And I'm usually pretty quick on either or, so I'm pretty good with that.
Beautiful. So phone, cell phone, email, best ways to get a hold of you.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Well, Santo, I appreciate you coming on the show, teaching us a bit more about your business, what you do, the legacy you want to leave, and getting a bit more into who you are and the community member that you are in the Simcoe County area. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.